Hi, everyone. My name is Lindsay Gould, and I am here to have a little presentation about inclusive education. So, we will be primarily focusing on supporting students with autism and students with emotional disturbance in grades K through 3. So, the first disability that we are going to touch on is ASD or autism spectrum disorder. So, definition and characteristics. By definition, ASD is a neurodevelopment disorder that affects communication, social interaction, and behavior. It includes conditions that were previously diagnosed separately, like Asperger's syndrome, which is a term that we no longer use for diagnosis. Some characteristics are obviously not limited to, but difficulty with verbal and nonverbal communication. This means that our students might be using AAC devices or different ways of communicating, such as touch boards or Velcro boards. Poor social skills. So, this is where students just need a lot of help introducing friendships and being able to communicate their thoughts and skills. Sometimes sentence starters can help using words or phrases versus long questions, and then also providing proper wait time for students. Sometimes, when socializing with others, they might need a little more time to process what a friend is saying to them respond. So, just being aware of that. Repetitive behaviors and routines. So, this is when changes, we'll touch on this later, but changes in routine can be a bit startling for students with ASD. They prefer to keep things in their regimented routine, and that also might mean things like times that they go to the bathroom, or times that they like to wash their hands, or times that they like to go visit a certain classroom. Those things staying consistent are really important. Sensory sensitivity. So, most frequently, a common one is loud noises. Students can have noise canceling headphones, lots of lights, lots of colors, sometimes lots of movement. Many people moving around in a room can just be overstimulating and can require a little bit of a break, removing from the stimuli. An unusual body posture. So, this could mean the way they're standing, the way they're walking, the way they're moving. It's just unique to them, and this will look different for every student with ASD. So not every student will have these characteristics, and not every student might have these characteristics to an extreme, but these characteristics on the spectrum is some things that we look for. So, prevalence and causes. So, about 1 in 36 US children have ASD, and it is more common in boys. There are no single known causes. Research points to a mix of both genetic and environmental factors that lead to this. On this page, you see our little image, our autism awareness ribbon. This is a frequently used symbol to represent ASD. So, how does this impact their school days and peer relationships? So, struggles with transitions. We talked about keeping routines the same and also students knowing when transitions are coming. So, being able to give them a heads up, a timer, a pre warning, a pre talk, just ensuring that they're ready for it. And then overwhelmed by noise and unstructured time. So, making sure that students have a plan when they are feeling that sensory overload from noise or unstructured time and know what to do with that. And then their peers. So, difficulty with social cues, may avoid group activities, and then need help forming those friendships. So, just that support in that social interaction with their peers. And then impact on academic learning. So, cognitively, they could excel in specific areas, but might struggle with thinking beyond the black and white of education. Linguistic may have language delays, or as we said, if a student is non speaking, they might use an AAC device or communicate in different ways. And then social emotional just needs predictable. We've talked about the support and then keeping a consistent routine. So, classroom strategies for inclusion. We've touched on a few of these, but just to kind of review, having sensory tools available for students, teaching empathy, building on the student's strengths, visual schedules and timers, and then predictable routines. This is kind of an example of a fictional student. So, Mateo. This would kind of be maybe what ASD could look like in a student. So, Mateo is a first grader with ASD who loves animals, thrives with visual schedules. So, that would be a great thing for gen ed teachers to know. Struggles with loud transitions, also a great thing to know. And leads Fun Fact Friday to build confidence and peer connections. So, that's something that when a meeting took place to go over the specific student's IEP requirements, goals, and skills, these are some things that would be useful for gen ed teachers to know as well. All right, now we will move on to ED, so emotional disturbances inclusive in a K 3 classroom. So, again, definition and characteristics. By definition, emotional disturbance is a condition that affects a child's ability to learn and function in school due to ongoing emotional or behavioral challenges not explained by intellectual or health factors. The characteristics. So, these can obviously, similarly to ASD, vary difficulty forming friendships, frequent inappropriate behaviors or feelings, ongoing sadness or depression, physical symptoms or fears tied to school or home, and trouble coping or self regulating. So, prevalence and causes. Prevalence is about 14.5% of children are evaluated for ED, and 2.9 million are prescribed related medications in the US. There, again, are no single causes, but can include mental health conditions like anxiety, depression, ADHD, or a traumatic history. Impact on school days and peer relationships. So students may escalate or shut down and struggle with focus, and with peers, difficulty with trust and emotional regulation, and needing adult support with friendships. This just comes in a lot of support with the interaction and social interaction. Many times, ED students' biggest struggle is that workload and then mixing it with the socialization load all in school. Small group learning, smaller settings can usually help these students be a little bit more successful. And impact on academic learning. So, cognitively, it's inconsistent performance, and it doesn't always have to be from the student's academic ability. It's more from the amount of time the student is out of their least restrictive learning environment and missing that academic portion. Linguistic may communicate defensively, so just might need help understanding when and where we use different tones of volume. And social emotional low confidence needs strong adult relationships. That trust is going to be key. So, classroom strategies for inclusion include clear expectations, emotion coaching, collaborating with the support staff, a calm down space or a calming corner, and then daily check ins with the student. And a fictional student example here would be Alea. Alea is a second grader with ED. She uses breathing, visuals, and check ins. She is kind but easily overwhelms. I don't know why that's there. And learning to ask for breaks with sentence starters. So again, this would be really great for a SPED teacher, a Gen Ed teacher to know just about the inclusion portion of the student's day. And thank you. So creating included spaces helps all students thrive so we can continue to work together on building empathy, understanding, and connection. Here are some additional resources and references of things that were used to create this presentation. And I hope that this gave you a little insight on how we can more effectively include our ASD and ED students within our classrooms.